The destruction of Ukraine's largest coal power plant in Kyiv has become the latest target of Russia's war machine. It provided electricity for 3 major regions. The barrage of air and drone attacks has left 200,000 people in Ukrainian cities without power. Meanwhile, this man is on a mission. The Ukrainian president once again preparing to keep his friends close. Volodymyr Zelensky arrived for a summit with Central and Eastern European leaders, with his aims clear. During talks, he appealed for help with a new air defense system that matches technology used by the Americans called Patriot. Zelensky reiterated this was a #1 priority for Kyiv.
We don't have our own air defense comparable to Patriot. It just doesn't exist. I want to tell you that we need time. We need partners. We don't need Patriot systems forever. We will definitely be able to produce our own systems. We have started working on this.
And the Polish president says his country stands ready to help.
President Volodymyr and I discussed certain other resources, namely Soviet-era missiles under Polish responsibility, which we have in our warehouses, and we've talked about handing them over to the Ukrainian air and missile defense.
All this as the Ukrainian parliament passed a bill on Thursday to overhaul the rules governing how the military mobilize civilians to its ranks. Ukraine continues to struggle with manpower alongside shortages with artillery shells due to a slowdown in Western military assistance. The bill has been met with protest in Kyiv, with some residents worried about the length of time soldiers have already spent in military service.
We are currently seeing a situation where the government is offering active servicemen to serve forever. Because we don't know when the war will be over, and frankly, in the foreseeable future, there is no possibility for the war to end or for victory, which we all want.
And as the war rages on, the cost continues to be unimaginable for the families as they say goodbye to loved ones. James Lua, TRT World.
Explosions lit up Israel's night sky as interceptors took down dozens upon dozens of Iranian-launched drones. Israel's military spokesman said the nation's defense systems detected incoming drones, cruise missiles, and ballistic missiles launched from Iran and its proxies.
Together with our allies and partners across the region, we are operating at this very moment to defend Israel from Iran's attack. So far, we have intercepted the vast majority of incoming missiles by Israeli systems.
The damage to Israel was far less than had been feared. Israeli officials said one child was hurt and a military base suffered minor damage. Schools in Israel had closed early, and civilians had been warned to seek shelter from the attack that many had suspected was coming. As it unfolded, Jordan, Iraq, and Lebanon closed their airspace, and U.S. President Joe Biden cut short a trip to Delaware, rushing back to the White House to meet with his National Security Council. In a statement, Biden said U.S. forces helped Israel take down nearly all the incoming drones and missiles. And Biden spoke with Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu by phone, affirming the U.S.'s ironclad support. Iran said the weekend's attack was retaliation for Israel's strike on an Iranian diplomatic compound in Damascus earlier this month. Even as the drones rained down on Israel, Iran's mission to the United Nations said the matter can be deemed concluded, but warned more violence would come if Israel or the U.S. retaliated. Iranians rallied in front of the British embassy in Tehran after the attack concluded.
I have never seen in any country, anywhere, that attacking another country and war makes people happy. But tonight, people gave up their sleep so that they can come here and show how important this war is to us, and how glad we are from this attack on Israel.
Leaders in the UK, Europe, and Canada condemned Iran's actions as reckless, unacceptable, and destabilizing for the region. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres also called for an immediate cessation of hostilities. But Israel has signaled it will respond to Iran's attack. The UN Security Council is expected to discuss efforts to prevent a direct war between the two countries on Sunday.
Hey, things up, don't come out. Hey, things up. Chopper, man. Better go to bridge.
شاف اللحم على الطريق يا شباب، شاف اللحم على الطريق. هي اخترع الزلمه، الله اكبر. شاف اللحم على الطريق يا شباب، شاف اللحم على الطريق. هي اخترع الزلمه، الله اكبر.
Iran-backed Lebanese militant group Hezbollah has claimed responsibility for an attack on a military facility in northern Israel that wounded at least 14 soldiers and 4 civilians. The militant group stated that the attack was carried out in retaliation to Israeli strikes that killed its members. Following the announcement, the Israeli military said its fighter jets struck quote-unquote terrorist infrastructure of Hezbollah in eastern Lebanon in retaliation. Israeli army also released a video showing fighter jets striking Hezbollah targets in the area of Qiyam, including a number of terrorist infrastructure as well as 2 additional military structures. The latest skirmish comes a day after IDF struck southern Lebanon, killing at least 3, including a Hezbollah field commander identified as Ismail Yusuf Baz. Hezbollah militants said Israeli forces have been exchanging fire since a day after Hamas's October 7th attack on Israel. Nearly 260 Hezbollah militants and about 50 civilians have been killed on the Lebanese side of the border since then. On the other hand, the fighting has killed at least 9 civilians and 11 soldiers in Israel.
Iran has never shied away from showing off its ballistic missiles, but it's always been more coy about its nuclear ambitions. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei insisting using nuclear weapons is religiously forbidden. And Iran's always insisted its nuclear program is for civilian purposes, even if Israel and the West don't believe a word of it. But now a senior Iranian commander says that entire nuclear doctrine is under review.
If there are any threats or actions by the fake Zionist regime against the country's nuclear facilities aiming at pressuring the Islamic Republic, reconsidering our nuclear doctrine and policy and violating the considerations announced before will be likely and imaginable.
And 5 days after firing cruise and ballistic missiles at Israel, the same official warned Iran knows where Israeli nuclear sites are and could target them if it wants to.
The enemy's nuclear sites have been identified and we have necessary information about all targets. We have our finger on the trigger to fire powerful missiles to destroy specified targets.
Chilling warnings, even if Israel and allies were able to shoot down most of the missiles sent its way by Iran over the weekend. Israel isn't toning down its rhetoric either. Its defense minister saying military activity is being stepped up.
Our missions are not going to decrease, they are only going to increase. The reality that we are being attacked from 7 different fronts, aerially 6 fronts, is a complex reality, and it will challenge us and accompany us.
Allies are urging Israel to let them sanction Iran and not strike back itself.
Iran's behaviour is unacceptable, and it's right that countries come together here at the G7 and make those points, not just because of what Iran has been doing, but also as a message to Israel that we want to play our part in having a coordinated strategy that deals with Iran's aggression that we saw so clearly against Israel over the weekend.
But Israel says being attacked with hundreds of massive missiles like this demands a response. It will retaliate. It's just a question of when. Dominic Waghorn, Sky News, Jerusalem.
پدافنده کار میکنه. پدافنده هوایی داره کار میکنه. از شرق اصفهان.
حسین میخوای بری بچه‌ها رو بیدار کنی؟
آره.
نمیدونم میخوای بیدارش کنی؟
This is an ABC News special report.
Good evening. I'm Juju Chang at ABC News headquarters here in New York. We're interrupting your regular programming with some breaking news. Israel has initiated a retaliatory strike against Iran, according to a senior U.S. official. This comes just 5 days after Tehran launched a direct military assault on Israel, firing more than 300 drones and missiles. Most were intercepted by Israel with the help of allies, including the U.S. Since that unprecedented weekend attack, Israel has vowed to retaliate. We turn now to ABC's Matt Gutman, who is in Israel with the latest reporting. Matt, what are you hearing?
Juju, a senior U.S. official telling us that Israeli missiles have hit at least one site inside Iran. No reports yet on casualties or what specifically this site was. As you mentioned, Israel has been telegraphing that it will respond. Officials telling me at the time and place of their choosing, they did not specify what that response would be like. We didn't know when it would come. And of course, this is in response to that massive missile salvo from last Saturday, the largest ballistic missile salvo in history. And of course, Iran has said that if Israel chooses to respond, the Iranian response would be severe and immediate. Juju.
Matt, thank you. From the latest in Israel, let's turn now to Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz in D.C. with the latest. Martha, what are you hearing?
It is a single senior U.S. official who said that it had started, that Israel had retaliated and hit one site in Iran. There are reports this evening that other places, Iraq and Syria, have been hit. This U.S. senior official said they simply cannot confirm that. There were reports yesterday that Israel would hold off on these strikes until after Passover. But today we started getting indications that it could come much quicker than that. The senior official also said the Israelis have been quite secretive about this, so there's very little information we have at this point about the strike that the U.S. senior official said that Israel had made inside Iran.
Well, Martha Raddatz, thank you for that update. Of course, we will return to our regular reporting. This has been a special report. Stay tuned, of course, for the latest updates. And we return you now to your regular programming.